See, that's why I love you brothers, right? Because you brothers challenge each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Call each other. And see, that's what this healing needs. You need that core, whether it's your women friends for the ladies or it's your male friends for the guys. You got to have that bond. Call each other and call a spade, call a thing.
Man, you got to.
Yeah. Like I told you, I don't want to be in 2023 saying, why am I still struggling with the things I was struggling with in 2016, 2017?
But see, that's just another illusion. Pain is inevitable. Mm-hmm. Suffering is optional. What's your problem? He said, drugs are my problem. He said, no. That's what you do to deal with your problem. Your problem is something else.
Level up, break the cycle, bro, level up, love your image.
My cousin, my guy, boy, we say we live, man.
All right.
We back, baby, we back.
Welcome to another episode of Destined by Design podcast. My boy Wes, man.
Yeah, I'm C.
And listen, man, y'all wanted more, y'all got more. Torrington, Connecticut is in the house, man. Gordon Lyde is back again. Gordon, welcome to the podcast. Welcome back to the podcast, brother.
Thank you for having me.
When I say they wanted more, bro, they wanted more. They was like, yo, that man is not done. We need him back. And so he's gracing us with his presence, man. And at the end of the day, bro, we're just happy to have you here.
Hey, man, they said they wanted more. I guess they like to be baffled with bullshit.
I
don't know. Hey, some people, that's their thing.
Man, last time you was on here, man, you dropped a lot of gems.
Most
man.
definitely.
You dropped a lot of stuff that left a lot of people wondering, like, okay, I got to get myself together. If that man can go through all that pain, I have no excuse, bro. No excuse. And here on this podcast, we try to create an atmosphere that real men can come on this podcast and be transparent.
Most definitely.
Yeah. They can be open and honest about the things that they've gone through, their life experiences, and so their daily struggles. And so this platform is not just, I said it before, it's not just for me and C, man. It's for anybody.
Absolutely.
Man or woman. I don't care what walk of life you come from. This podcast is for you, man. It's for the people, bro, because we want to hear from you. We want to hear your stories because it's all about encouragement. We had it. I'm telling you how crazy God is, man. Our last podcast that we aired was about healing before dating.
Yeah, one of the.
Yo, shout out to Drew.
Shout out
to Drew, man. Yeah, my man Drew.
He dropped it like it was hot, man.
It's doing very well. We're doing very well.
A couple of days before that podcast even dropped, Gordon called me, and he said, "Wes, I got the topic, man. I want to come from a place of healing." And in my mind, I'm like, bro, that is an excellent topic. Yeah. We got to discuss it.
Yeah, most definitely.
Totally forgetting that we had already named the last one, Healing Before Dating. But then it dawned on me. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go on record and say it. 2023 has to be the year of healing.
Most definitely.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of stuff that people go through on a day-to-day basis. And they have this false sense of security that all the things that they've ever been through in life, that they have completely gotten over it. They're completely healed from it. And then I was listening to another podcast not too long ago, and the guest on it said that, we have this false sense that we're healed from these wounds until it's touched. And then we start to feel it again. And before we got on here, we were talking about like the simplest things can set you back. Like you could be watching TV.
Yeah.
Listen to a music. Gordon, you said you can smell something.
The scent can walk past
your nose.
Yeah.
And then it's as if it happened that day. We got to get to a point to where we actually go through the healing process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You said it last episode. Process is a healing.
Yeah.
Or healing is a process, rather.
Most definitely. Steps to it.
It just doesn't happen just because you want it to happen. And so you got to start taking the first steps.
Mm-hmm.
Gordon, you've been through a lot, bro. I'm going to keep it real with you.
Yeah, I've been through a few things.
Every time I see you, bro, you drop something on me, and it literally has me leaning. Like, get the hell out of here.
I've seen a few things, yeah.
And it gets crazier every time, but then it also makes me admire you even more. Because I'm like, I have no excuse. Not one excuse could I ever think of where I say that I shouldn't be able to get past something. And we're not talking about relationships here, right? Mm-hmm. We're talking about real stuff that happens to real men, real people every day. And that's why you're here, man.
Because
we're here to talk about it.
Here's the thing, right? I was taught good friend of mine, Tom, he's actually my sponsor, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm a person in long-term recovery, for those that don't know. So he always told me, you have no excuse. The minute you think you have an excuse of giving up, first you must find one person in the entire world that's been through what you're going through and has not made it through the other side without giving up.
Yeah.
See, because there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
No
That's
matter
a fact,
what
bro.
you go through, what I go through, what you go through, someone else has been through that times 10
Facts.
and came out the other side.
Yeah, that's real. That's
So
real.
no one has an excuse to just throw the towel in. But see, the thing about it is, we're going to keep it a buck, right?
Go ahead.
The thing about it is, people say they want healing,
Sure.
but they just want to get past the pain. They want to stop hurting.
Yeah.
They don't want to heal because they still need the excuse to get it twisted later. See, because like we was talking earlier, it could be painful, but it's so familiar, it's comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
That pain can be so familiar, so constant that it's comfortable. What's uncomfortable is for that pain to go away.
Sure.
So you take the pain away, I have no more excuses. I have no more give up.
Yeah.
I have no more blame.
Yep.
In actuality, I have no more identity because my whole identity was wrapped around this dysfunction.
Sure, man.
So if I give that up, who am I?
Yeah. That's true.
And so people stay stuck in that.
Yeah, that's real. I don't know why it crossed my mind, but it kind of reminds me of somebody years ago. It could have been as a child they were born with a disability, or maybe they even got injured and they developed this kind of lifestyle. Maybe because of their disability they're unable to work, so as a result they may be living in poverty, or maybe that injury caused them, maybe they can't work out so they got overweight. And then let's just say that by God's grace all those things take a drastic turn, and yet you still living in that dysfunction. Now, what is your excuse? Now I'm confused because you have no excuse now, and so where do we go from here? Right?
But see, the excuse that they generate is the self-image.
Sure.
It's not what we see.
Yeah.
It's what they see in the mirror. That self-loathing kicks in.
Yeah.
So they hate what they see in the mirror. They hate themselves on some level due to a response to some stuff that happened. It's all trauma related.
Yeah. Sure.
My biggest thing, I will always stand on this, trauma is the gateway to everything. All dysfunction, trauma's at the core of it, right? So because of that, they stay stuck.
Yeah.
And they create this self-image. So they will create, or we will create, this construct around us to facilitate that same loathing.
Yeah.
We would pick jobs that's not going to suit us, that we're going to walk away from. We're going to pick mates, people in our lives, whether they're platonic or romantic, that's going to fail us or disappoint us, or this. We're going to create all this stuff just so that other shoe can drop that we were talking about, just so we can say, see, fuck it.
Knew it.
Yeah.
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 And I just remain stuck.
Yeah.
So even if you remove this ailment goes away.
Yeah.
Oh, but I'm still hurting over here. So I still can't. And we just, it's that mentality.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's that victim mentality that we stay in, but then we sit there and, I just want to be healed.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing we were talking about. See, there's this unrealistic expectation of healing, right?
Sure.
Because once something is broken, you cannot put anything back together exactly the way it was. Mm-hmm. It may look similar, but it's still a little different.
Yeah.
Not flawed, it's just different. Ooh. We have this expectation that we're going to be put together like this jigsaw puzzle, and it's going to be we're going to be exactly the way we were before. Mm-hmm. So when that doesn't happen, we don't walk in that healing. We just sit there and keep waiting for the healing to show up, and we keep walking in the brokenness. Right. And in that brokenness, we just cause more havoc.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then we have our greatest excuse. See, I prayed to God, but he ain't heard me yet.
Right.
So I guess this is my lot to bear. Yeah. But then we get biblical. This is my thorn.
Oh,
this is my thorn in my side that I must live with. Because he says I'll find grace in that. stop.
Yeah.
You just want to stay stuck.
That's really what it is.
You don't want to be honest about what's really going on, or to the simple fact that I don't know what's going on.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know really how flawed I am. I don't know where the pain originated from.
Yeah.
But I need to talk to somebody about it so maybe they can help me. See, that's why I love you brothers, right? Because you brothers challenge each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Call each other. And see,
Have to.
that's what this healing needs. You need that core, whether it's your women friends for the ladies or it's your male friends for the guys. You got to have that bond to call each other and call a spade, call a thing.
Man, you got to.
Yeah.
Because you will see my slips before I recognize them, because I'll be too caught up in my own stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll be on autopilot.
Straight up, yeah.
I'll take, like she said, the blinders. I'll tilt one of those a little bit just to widen my view and start drifting. And someone needs to be like, yo, dog, where you going?
Yeah, you got to stay in your lane.
Yeah, you got to stay in your lane, most definitely.
And we need that. And that only comes from real honesty.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because it's too easy to turn a blind eye to it, man.
Nah.
You know what I mean? You be like, it ain't me.
Yeah, something that you said, Gordon, and I think people have to really understand, like you said, when you're putting the pieces back together, you're not going to be the same.
No.
And I can honestly say, just with myself in general, like the last few months, as we was talking before, and like I had to tell Wes, I had to text Wes maybe a couple weeks ago, like, yo, bro, people are really trying to create a narrative about me.
I remember that.
Because they don't understand that I had to, like, I was so broken. It was so much things going on that I just had not dealt with. Mm-hmm. And I think one day I hit Wes up and was like, yo, I got to hold myself accountable now. Like, we're getting to a point where we're trying to go with just this, other things that in order for me to get to that level, I have to identify I need healing to take place. So as I'm putting the pieces back together, there is a huge difference with me now. I'm not really as sociable as I used to be. I'm not really involved in the cliques.
Yeah, for real.
I'm not that main guy of attraction. I don't want to be the main focus no more. I don't want all eyes on me. And it's not that the fact of, you know, that I'm just trying to be socially awkward or anything or nothing like that, or I'm down, I'm depressed. I feel like this, in order to go somewhere like where we're trying to go, you got to move different.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I can't entertain the old things that used to catch my eye. Like I told you, the blinders are really on. Like these last 2 months, I have been tested with everything possible that used to be my weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And the fact that I can continue and don't come out of character when people lie on my name.
Yeah.
I don't come out of character when, you know, certain text messages might hit my phone that might make me want to dart. I keep it moving forward because, like you said, when you're healing and you're actually trying to, like you said, pain is something that you can't get over. You actually have to go through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no
and
doubt.
I'm going through it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I had to find my foundation. Like I'm not saying that I'm like, I tell people all the time, I'm not perfect.
Sure.
But I understand what gets me like mentally prepared and better. Mm-hmm. You know, my number one place is the gym.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. But I had to remember growing up where my mama used to take me, where things used to really feel, and I used to get that covering. I had to get myself back into some type of Bible study. I didn't want to go all churchy because that ain't. I know I ain't gonna live.
I gotta be real
to myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm not perfect, but I started like with just Bible studies.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just things that would just keep me covered and keep me founded. Just work on these things because, like I said, like I could easily drift, but that's not the plan no more. And we can't. As you getting older in your 30s,
yeah.
Like I told you, I don't want to be in 2023 saying, why am I still struggling with the things I was struggling with in 2016, 2017? But I had to remind people, like you said, pain is something that, you know what I'm saying, you're trying to get past, but if you don't go through it and actually deal with it and put those pieces back together and understand that a change is taking place, you're going to basically be doing it all over again. Like you said, you identify, you go what you're familiar with. Mm-hmm. So if I say I'm better, why would I go back to what I'm trying to stay away from?
Exactly. So why would you want
To do it,
that puzzle to look like before? If I'm healed after I was broken, why would I want to be what I was before that got broken?
That's real, man. Yeah.
See, that's just that mindset. You know what I mean? I was listening to you, and when you was also talking about, it's like people no longer having access to you.
Yeah.
Access is a big thing, man.
Not everybody deserves access
Facts.
to you.
Facts.
You gotta earn that.
Yeah,
Straight
that's
up.
true. Yeah, learning it.
You
Definitely
gotta
learning it.
earn access.
Yeah.
You gotta be deserving of it because not everything is good for you.
Sure.
Most definitely.
And see, we'll latch on to something for a good feeling
Facts.
That's
just
real.
to avoid pain. See,
Yeah.
but see, that's just another illusion. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional.
Most definitely. I definitely agree
That's
with that.
real,
Yeah,
man.
I like that.
Yeah.
Suffering
I like
is
that.
optional.
I like that. You could choose that. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. A choice. No, I definitely.
We choose to stay stuck in stuff.
Yeah, because being uncomfortable, like we said before,
Yeah.
it bothers us.
It does,
Until
man.
you embrace being uncomfortable,
Yeah.
I don't mind walking in a room where I know you just got done talking about me. Before it would bother me, but now I just smile.
Yeah, you
because
got
there's
to.
nothing that you can say
Yeah.
that's going to bring me out. But I'm cool with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it because I know where I've embraced it.
Sure.
In order to get where you got to go, you got to, like you said, you got to be uncomfortable.
No doubt.
And a lot of people struggle with being uncomfortable. Like they just struggle with it, bro. Like they got to feel involved.
Yeah.
And, they got to feel in.
Yeah.
You don't want to, you can't, if people really show who they really are, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Like if you really seen, they take the mask off, it'd be a different thing. I'm trying to tell you, but you have to be willing to be uncomfortable.
There's something about being uncomfortable, man, and I get it though.
Yeah.
Being comfortable in a situation or allowing yourself to remain stuck, you kind of make a home out of it, man. And they say there's a saying that goes, "There's no place like home, bro."
Yeah.
Because you start to get real comfortable in that, man.
I'm telling you, bro.
And as dysfunctional as it is,
I'm telling you.
you will stay there.
I'm telling you.
When we got on, man, I said, I don't know if I'm gonna tell that story, but hell, I'm gonna tell it. Might as well
Drop it, man.
I might as well
Why
tell
not?
it.
Why not?
When I was a child, I always had a wonder, bro. And my family would tell you, I guess they call me granddad because I've always been an old soul. So I always just wondered about things, right? I used to see my mom, me and my brother, man, used to see my mom get abused horribly. And even as a child, at 6 years old, I would sit there and I would wonder, why do I got to protect this woman? Why do I got to step in front of this man? Like, don't she know what's going to happen? Is she talking crazy to this man and acting out and getting all drunk up and stuff? Like, just leave. First of all, just leave. But even if you decided to go through the abuse and all this stuff, why go back though? Because this is going to keep happening. And then it didn't dawn on me, man, until maybe 20 plus years later when, where I'm a adult and she's an adult and she had unfortunately fallen back into her addiction after the death of her husband, man. And, she was telling me, man, and obviously, death does something to people. Death can bring out the best of you, it can bring out the worst of you, and unfortunately for her, it kind of brought out the worst because the woman has experienced trauma beyond belief, right? Loss beyond belief.
Yes.
And it was at a point to where she was just so transparent as if she was sober, man, and she was like, I used to drink to the point where I used to not want to wake up. And it dawned on me, man, it was like, when this woman was getting abused and all this stuff, man, like she had made a home out of that. And she, in the time of her life where she was going through a whole bunch of darkness, bro, like she remembered what home felt like. And she needed to get back there. And I honestly don't blame her for it, man. It actually broke me down. I was actually on the way back to Virginia in the car, and I just started crying, bro.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, brother.
Because it was so like crazy to me, because I was like, man, I don't ever believe that I could ever allow myself to get to that point. But the truth is that a lot of people get to that point, man, to where no matter how long they have come from it, Gordon, all blessings to you, brother. Like the track that you're on, the amazing journey that you're on. But my mother was there too. She too went to be a clinician, and she was encouraging and helping people get past their addiction. So it's just crazy how life can come full circle, but then you can get past that full circle and go right back to that. That's how easy it is to go right back to where you came from, no matter how far you're removed from it.
It's not easy, right? But what happens is, if you don't take care of the root cause,
Yeah.
it's like cutting grass. Like, we've all mowed lawns before, right? Why do you have to keep mowing the lawn?
Yeah.
Because it keeps growing, right? Why does it keep growing?
Yeah. The root.
The root. So if you don't get to the root cause of what's going on with you, your pain, your trauma, it'll resurface in so many other areas to the point where eventually you'll just say fuck it and go back to it.
Yep.
And that's the part of healing where I say you have to be so honest with yourselves that you're willing to go deep down inside into that muck and take a look and say, okay,
Yeah.
this is what's wrong. This right here at my core. And start dealing with that because it's not the drugs.
Sure.
There's a line in the book, A Beautiful Boy, right? It's a true story about this father and the son experience of the son. Father's an author, upstate California, actually.
Yeah.
And the son becomes this addict on meth and stuff like that, right? But the son, in the story, the son goes to rehab. He was telling the story when he celebrated how when he arrived at treatment and the counselor says, what's your problem? He said, drugs are my problem. He said, no. That's what you do to deal with your problem. Your problem is something else. Unless, see, the drugs we do, the bad relationships, the dead-end jobs, the self-loathing, and all this harm we cause ourselves, that's secondary. Those are byproducts of what's really going on.
Yeah.
Of what's at our core. Something got us so damaged that we're seeking something outside of ourselves. It doesn't always have to be pleasure.
Sure.
It could just be another form of pain. So my emotional pain hurts me so bad. Your physical pain is less damaging, but it'll get me. I can focus more on that. I'd rather take your physical pain than deal with my emotional pain. So go ahead, beat the shit out of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the depth of it because we're so afraid to deal with that, come face to face with those demons.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, the reason why they seem so monstrous because they were developed as children.
Yeah.
And so when we look at them, we still look at them from the mindset of a child, a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old, where things are totally huge.
Sure.
And crazy. So that's in that area, that's where our growth stopped in that experience. So that's how we see that whatever happened, we see it from that mindset of that child. So it's still so terrifying.
Sure. You know, it's like looking under the bed, man. Like if you grew up being afraid of a monster or believing that a monster's under the bed, and if you ever get the courage to just get down there and see for yourself, you know, bringing it back to if you're an adult, man, like there's some things that are under that bed that you just got to go under there and face, or maybe it's not even there and that you just created it in your own head, to be honest with you. But regardless, you got to be willing to, whatever it is under that table or under that bed, like you got to be willing and ready to face it. Because you may not like what you find, to be honest. You may not find a monster under there, but you might find a mess.
Yeah.
And then if you find the mess, now you become responsible to deal with it because you just can't see it and then do nothing about it.
Yeah. And see, that's just the problem. A lot of people don't want to really look at it because once you come face to face, you're required to do something. You have no more excuses as to it's not a boogeyman. It was what my dad said to me. It's not the boogeyman. It was what my mom never did for me. It's not the boogeyman. It was this person across the street. And see, now you have, it's not this fictitious entity anymore. It's an actual tangible person and experience that you have to actually come face to face and deal with and look at and come to terms with.
Yeah.
But the problem is so many people, we build so many layers around it.
Yeah.
It develops its own reality.
Okay.
It has its own gravitational pull. So now we're afraid to like pull at this thread because we don't know how much of this tapestry is going to unravel.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
So
it's all connected.
Yeah. So and it's like, I want to do a little work, but I'm not ready to rebuild this whole thing.
Yeah.
And then we start saying, it ain't so bad. Yeah. They're not always mean to me.
Wow.
They only punch me in my face on Fridays. They're nice on Sunday.
That's crazy.
She only cheats on me on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I can deal with it.
It's all these other things that we make excuses for because we don't want to really deal with what's really going on.
Yeah. I feel like you got to be ready to tear it all down, though. It's funny you said that. It could be a simple thread that you see. And a lot of times you know where the pain comes from or you have an idea where it originates from. You could do something about it. But like you said, people are just afraid to pull at that string because they're afraid the whole tapestry will fall down. You can't allow fear to be the reason why you don't make that necessary change. You
shouldn't, but a lot of times, until I always say, when the pain gets great enough, you'll do something.
Yeah.
That's real, man.
Yeah.
See, sometimes the pain everybody has their own different thresholds of pain.
Yeah, different tolerance.
So some people can deal with a whole lot, with others.
That's true, bro.
But see, the problem with that is you may have a low tolerance for pain. You keep pinching yourself. It may hurt. You keep pinching, you go numb.
Yeah.
You have to pinch harder.
Sure.
You develop a tolerance for it.
Yeah.
So you stay in it long enough, your tolerance, your threshold will go higher and higher.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But once you recognize that the pain is too great, you're almost forced to do something about it.
No doubt about it.
The question is how far you want to go. See, some people just want to just do a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
To get
See,
by.
for me, I'm an all or nothing type person. And once I started making the change, I was like, I want some more shit out of life.
Damn.
I wasted, it's not really a waste, but it is. I sacrificed so much, so many years living on this other side.
Yeah.
When I turned, because I was listening to you guys' podcast, right? And it was like, wow, these dudes are sharp. They were talking about in their 30s what they want. Man, I was wild as hell in my 30s. I was standing on a tier in Summers talking about fuck y'all got going on down there. You know what I mean? I was on some bullshit. So I didn't get clean till I was 39.
For real.
Okay.
I celebrated my first birthday clean. I was turning 40.
Wow, bro.
So, you know what I mean? So that's when things started for me. And that's when I started that healing process, making amends, building those relationships with my children, coming clean on a lot of stuff with me. Yeah. And I'm still a work in progress.
Of course, definitely.
But I had to realize, first of all, I didn't want to go back to prison no more.
Yeah.
I knew if I smoked crack again, I was going back to prison.
Sure.
And if I went back to prison, there was a good possibility I'd never make it out again.
Yeah, and that's real.
And I didn't have the energy to start this process again because it wasn't easy to start all over from scratch, right? And rebuild those relationships because it wasn't about finding another job, going back to school.
Yeah. What
it was coming face to face to the disappointment and the hurt I put in my daughters, especially Quanda, my oldest. Shout out to Quanda for forgiving her father and becoming like my ride or die, right? Yeah. Because growing up, all she heard was the myths about all my antics. Once I turned my life around, I didn't just have to heal. I had to allow her to heal.
No doubt.
I had to allow her the space to heal, to hate me, to be angry with me at any time. I had to allow her that, and my healing came from checking my pride and my ego and saying, you deserve this. You deserve your own safe space to be able to do that because I created all this negativity around you with that.
No doubt.
And I had to get out of my own way. And once I did that, then it just started spreading in other areas. Yeah. And I just wanted to become better and better and more forgiving and more of a loving, caring person because there was a time I wasn't so nice.
Yeah.
I wasn't so nice, and it was because of all that deep-rooted pain, abandonment, hurt, trauma, all that crap that I experienced from childhood going up. It started with people, it was afflicted on me. Then it became self-afflicted. Yep. Then I became my own torturer. And that just created this hatred for myself and everything around me. And I was a dark soul for a while. So I had to start this process of going deep in forgiving myself.
Would you say that's the first step to healing is forgiveness, forgiving yourself. Or what would you say is the first step?
The first step is just acknowledging that there's something wrong.
Sure.
You got to have that self-admission that, okay, something's wrong.
Okay.
Something's wrong here. This ain't normal. There's nothing normal about your life. No, you should not be doing this.
Yeah.
You should not be afraid to come home from prison, but run straight back to it and be like, okay, what's on the menu?
Yeah. Wow.
That's not normal behavior. That should not be what's conducive for your lifestyle, right?
Sure.
So that's first of all. And then it starts, once you admit that there's a problem, then you got to develop the courage to actually take some looks underneath that bed, into that closet.
Yeah.
You got to have the courage to do that.
Yeah.
And be open to what you might find.
I'm trying to tell you.
Remove the expectations, because the only thing expectations do is set you up for disappointment, because you'll walk into there expecting to find something else and be like, oh shit.
Yeah. Because it could be 10 times worse than what
10
you
times
expect.
worse or something totally different. Totally different.
It'll blow your mind, bro.
What? Open that door and be like, oh, my bad.
Oh, right.
I'm sorry. Let me close this back
Yeah,
again.
You cannot put the toothpaste back in the
Yeah,
tube
and all of a
bottle,
sudden it's just all this stuff. So you got to be prepared.
Yeah.
Because the funny thing about the human mind and memory, see, our human mind will protect us, especially when it's early trauma. It will protect us from a lot of things. So we will black out some things. We won't remember all details. But see, sometimes once you start unraveling that,
Yeah.
and those memories, you start remembering the realness of what happened.
Sure.
It wasn't all hunky-dory and it wasn't all loving and all this. No, it was kind of graphic and cruel, and I experienced that.
Yeah.
Like, there was a memory like we was talking about, right? I'm working on this play, right, with my boy Charlie Grady about the grade 8 journey to grade 8. So it's very detailed questions about our childhood, middle school, and all that. So one of the questions, it talked about, like, in that middle school, teenage years, first sexual experience. What was that like? How did you identify that? And I had to be totally honest because I don't know any other way to be. So I said my first sexual experience was abuse. So I grew up a lot thinking sex was abuse because my first sexual experience, I was raped by a male babysitter at 9.
Wow. Okay.
So that was my first sexual experience.
Okay.
And then I wasn't allowed to talk about it. So I didn't know if that made me this, that made me that, or what it made me. Was it my fault?
Right.
So I had to internalize all that. So for many of my years, until I was in prison in 1997, I forgot that happened.
Wow.
Until I was sitting in a group reading. We was reading this book on adult children of alcoholics, and all of a sudden all those memories came back.
Crazy.
It was like a flood. I remember the scent of the room, the scent of his sweat. I remembered everything. And that was my first experience, my first sexual experience. So a lot of times that played a part in a lot of the different aspects of my life.
Okay.
Why I was sexually active, but there was never no emotion or love attached to it.
Sure.
Intimacy wasn't sex.
Yeah.
Sex was just fucking.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
So there was never that real emotional bonding.
Yeah.
And because of stuff like that, I didn't know how to bond. Like, I always sit there and say, I fell in love all the time. All you had to do was smile at me, call me cute. I fell in love.
Not the truth.
But it really wasn't the truth. I fell for you. I truly liked you because you liked me.
Okay.
And I gauge myself based on how you seen me. But I didn't love you. I didn't know how to love you, because to love you meant I had to trust you, and everything I've ever trusted hurt me.
Fact, bro.
So I'm going to do this as long as this feels good, but in a minute I'm going to get tired of you, and I'm going to find a reason to leave you.
Yeah.
Got you.
I don't care if that's at the grocery store, at the park.
Oh,
I mean, I would walk away and you just don't see me no more. It's not like I just went to the corner. I just keep walking. You'd be like, hey, and I'm just going.
Yeah.
Yeah. That easy.
Yeah, so I lived my life like by the movie Heat. Don't get involved with anything you can't walk away with 30 seconds or less. That was my favorite line. I lived by that because I didn't get attached. It was because of, and I thought I was just being smooth about it. It wasn't until I did some real inventory, some honest looks at myself. It was from all the damage, from my mother abandoning me, from the abuse as a kid, the sexual abuse, and all those other things. Yeah. It created this thing about me that I refused to get close to people or allow people close to me. Yeah. So that's where my healing was, taking that honest look and being willing to peel back the layers and then being willing to just be vulnerable. Sure. And be okay to be hurt. Yeah. That's part of the process. Yeah. That's that part of uncomfortability, because if I remain comfortable, like Wes said, I will feel at home, but I also will not grow.
That's real.
But if I'm uncomfortable and I'm doing things that cause that's uncomfortable and it may be hurtful and I may get hurt in the process, I know that's not for me.
Sure.
It's like what Drew was saying, and I love that. There's more lessons than blessings.
No doubt.
Because if we got all the blessings early on, we wouldn't have had the lessons. We would have been stuck with this right here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We grew because we went through so many things and gained so many lessons. But in those lessons, there was so much freaking pain.
Yeah, that's real.
That I couldn't go around. But in order to learn from it and incorporate it, I had to go through it.
Yeah.
Had to go through it.
With confidence, man.
And that's the cool thing about it. We can go through some of that pain, even if that pain was from 30 years ago.
Wow.
We can go through it today.
Yeah.
Wow.
Most definitely. That's true.
It's not temporal. It's not a temporal plane that you got to do it on.
Yo, so if that's the case, then why do you always hear people say, man, that stuff happened 30 years ago. I ain't even about to deal with that stuff, man. You know what I'm saying?
Cop out.
Yeah, right. Basically, right.
It's a cop out. They're being lazy.
Yeah.
They'd rather be comfortable. Mm-hmm. They've become comfortable in the dysfunction and whatever squalor that situation created from them. Yeah. It's been around so long, it's like, I'm used to it. So what? I got gangrene in my pinky toe. I got the other toes are good.
Yeah. It's just crazy, man, because, I mean, let's just keep it real. I try to keep it as real as I can on this podcast, man. I used to have a thought about that when it came to you and your siblings. Let me just keep it real. Because I used to always hear the conversations like, you know, about your mother, and, you know, I may not have said it on this podcast before, but the woman raised me and my brother.
Oh, I know.
And so I love her like air, you know. In my eyes, your mother can do no wrong.
I know.
And it wasn't until we started getting together as cousins and we started building our bond together, because, Gordon, you're what, 20-something years older than me? Mm-hmm. It didn't dawn on me that a lot of stuff had already happened before I even came into the world.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until I started hearing some stories where it just made me drop my jaw, because the woman that they're talking about in my mind doesn't exist. And before I knew the truth, I used to always say, me and my brother, we would talk and we'd be like, man, I got to get over that shit, man. That was 30, 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. Maybe, and like you said, maybe y'all had to take the time. You had to get to a place of maturity and a place where in your healing process that now you're ready to go through that pain. And we have to allow you that space to go through it.
See, there was a time, I'm going to keep it a buck. I had feelings about the fact that she was raising you and Sonny, right? Because I was like, fuck. Yeah. You didn't have time for us. Mm-hmm. But I appreciated what she did, because your mom, she was ill-equipped to do it at the time, and someone needed to do it. And that's what family does. Yeah. So I was appreciative that she had that quality. Mm-hmm. I was envious that I didn't get to experience it, right? So, but then in my process, I had to learn to love my mother for who she is. Like I was saying before, I love my mother and hate my mother equally, right? Mm-hmm. I'm a mama's boy that don't really have a mother like that. My mother's ill-equipped. Nothing against her. Yeah. She's ill-equipped to be that nurturing type for me.
Okay.
Right? Yep. That's just what it is, right? So, to be honest, I haven't spoken to her like in months. Mm-hmm. Won't answer the phone. I'm not ready to deal with that yet, right? Yeah. And that's just me. That's just how I have to do it for me.
Yeah.
But I never wanted her to not or I wanted Wes and them to not see her in any other light. I wanted them to have the relationship with my mother that they have. I love that they have that nurturing relationship. I do.
Yeah.
I love that other people love her to the level that they do.
Yeah.
I wish she would do it in other areas, but that's a different story. I never hated that. It was a different time. There was a lot of hurt. There was a lot of stuff that happened back then. Mm-hmm. For the most part, me and my siblings, we've come to terms with who my mother is, what happened, and we're cool to the point, like, we came out all right.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Better than I.
Came out all right.
Better than I.
You know what I mean? It is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not Theo Huxtable. She's not Claire. We're not going to have that relationship ever. It's not going to be that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not. Will I always love my mother? Yes. Mm-hmm. If she ever needed me, would I be there? Yes.
Yeah. Can
I deal with her on a day-to-day basis? Not today.
Not today. Right.
Not today.
Yes.
Not today. And it's not her, it's me.
But that leaves room for growth.
Yeah, it's me. And I'm really the first one to admit it's me. It's not about her. Although sometimes it may seem like that. It's not. See, I'm ill-equipped. I'm not equipped to be able to deal with her on a day-to-day basis without putting those child expectations on my mom. On having my mom. Because I'm truly a mama's boy. So being that I know I can't remove my expectations yet, so I have to separate myself because every time my expectation gets me hurt.
Sure.
It's not that she's doing anything different. I'm putting unrealistic expectations on someone that can't meet them right now.
Wow.
And that's not fair to her.
Right.
So I need to be a grown enough man to step away, even though that may be uncomfortable, but I'm trying to protect myself mentally.
Gotcha.
No doubt.
Got you.
Yeah, and I think it's important. I mean, you got to know what you can take. You know what I mean? Like you said, everybody's pain tolerance isn't the same. Some people will try their best to convince themselves that they can endure it. If you can't, you can't, man. You got to be okay with that. That's all. So I respect and appreciate that you know your tolerance, man.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't speed up your process to meet other people's demands of you. Because all you'll do is you'll find yourself at a point to where there is no progress being made. And if anything, you'll hurt yourself even more. Yeah. There's a, you know, I'm not sure if you guys were told when you were kids, but have you ever scraped your knee, something like that, and then the healing process started, and then you start picking at it?
Yeah.
You start picking at it. And your parents will always tell you, leave that thing alone.
Yeah.
You got to leave it alone. You know, it's going to heal on itself. You got to allow it to heal, man. You can't keep picking at it. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to let it do its thing as much as you might want to, or get the urge or that itch to go and try to make it speed up the process, or maybe you just poking at it and you may not even know. I mean, I could have been watching TV just scratching it.
Yeah.
Very true. so you poking on things that hurt, but you just, it's just natural to you. I imagine you being a mother's boy, it's your natural inclination to just want to be with her, to do things for her. Because I remember during the COVID pandemic, you were the only one that was actually going to her, dropping off groceries.
I did her grocery shopping.
Checking on her. This is a woman that you just said out of your mouth that you both love and hate equally, which is crazy to imagine.
Here's another thing a lot of people don't. Leading up to the pandemic, I wasn't speaking to her. I had cut her off.
Wow.
I cut her off, right? Or as I like to put, I put her in timeout, right? Timeout for a while, right? But when the pandemic happened, and it was such a big fear, as much as I didn't want to, I could not let my mother die by herself in an apartment.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't let her be hungry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm not going to let her go hungry.
Sure.
I'm going to try to do everything I can to help. So I started doing a grocery shop, and we started communicating, making sure she had this and had that. And I had to do it within certain limits. And then, of course, my expectations get in the way, and I get too involved, and all of a sudden then I get disappointed again. And it's really not, and I'm not just saying it because here, it's really not her.
Sure.
It's my expectations. I can't remove them right now. So I would always have these expectations that become unrealistic and they're not met, and I get in my feelings.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I got to fall back. It's just been that over the past few years. But, yeah.
You know what's funny is that, and I'm pretty sure we all know at this table that the pain and the cuts that those that should be or are the most closest to you are the ones that hurt and endure the longest and take the longest to heal.
Yeah.
Like you said, man, I mean, that's your mother. That's the person that brought you into this world. That connection that is naturally there, though the bond is somewhat non-existent, but it's just the natural pull towards her is there. When she does or had, wasn't being the mother that she's supposed to be, man, that cut is so deep that it still needs time to heal. And I think that's important for anybody that's going through any kind of disappointment or healing process from people that are most close to them. That's why you got to be careful with who you will let into your inner circle. Because at the end of the day, man, it can take you a while, if ever.
Absolutely.
If ever, to heal.
See, that's why I'm grateful for the process and the journey that I've been on, right? The level of honesty that I've had with myself in what happened to me, what I'm going through, what I'm feeling, and being able to verbalize that, right?
Yeah.
Because it allowed me to be open and understanding, have a level of empathy with other people, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So I'm not judgmental, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not overcritical of people.
Sure.
I'm controlling as fuck, though. I really am. I'm very controlling because I like certain outcomes.
Got you.
Yep.
I'm working. I'm a work in process with that, right?
Yeah.
I try to make sure things happen a certain way, right? And sometimes I just want to just tell other people that they're stupid because I almost got a T-shirt just say you're stupid. But I'm a work in process with that because I just had to really take a look at what happened to me. Mm-hmm. And not just what happened to me, really pay attention to the feelings that I developed because of what happened to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when I did that, I was able to sit there and say, I can't say that to C because when someone said something close to that to me, this is how I felt.
Yep.
And that shit hurt.
Okay.
And I don't want to instill that hurt into another person because, and it's not this, that initial sting.
Yeah.
That's the bad part.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's just that residual shit.
Yeah,
because
no doubt.
someone could say something and it'll sting and we'll shake that shit up. We'll shake that shit up.
Yep.
But that shit's still resonating back here.
No doubt it is.
Resonating back here, festering.
Yeah.
2 years pass and that shit done rented space, got a whole fucking condo back here.
Yeah. Nah,
And you created all this self-doubt. So now, because of that little sting,
Yeah.
I don't gave him a bunch of baggage to carry around. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do to others that was done to me.
Yeah.
So in the process, so that's why healing is so important. So I can help remove the baggage and the hurt inside of me, all the negativity, and stop putting that back into the world.
For sure.
Stop putting that back in there. And then put myself in a position to help others with theirs.
Yeah.
See, because just like you said, it was said earlier, once you see something wrong, you're obligated to do something.
Always.
But it doesn't stop with just you. Mm-hmm. See, once I see something damaged in me and I see how to fix it, I'm now obligated to help you with yours once you recognize it.
Absolutely. Reach one, teach one, man.
I'm obligated because that's how this works. It takes a village.
Yeah. Facts.
It takes a village because it took a village for us to get this fucked up.
Yeah. No doubt.
Took a whole fucking village. It wasn't just one person that fucked us up.
No doubt.
It was a whole village, community, and part of the tribe up the street.
Yeah. It took a team.
Yeah. So it's going to take a team to heal.
Real.
Facts.
We have to.
Yeah, no doubt.
We owe it to ourselves and to those around us.
Yeah.
And those that come later.
Ain't it crazy how we all are just products of our pain and the things that we went through. People ask me all the time why I work with kids. And to me, it always surprises me when people say that, you know, that they don't know why they just kind of got into the field. For you, being a drug counselor, that's just not for anybody.
No.
Working in the juvenile field, that's just not for anybody. It takes a certain kind of person, and
Most
a lot
definitely.
of times it takes people who have a personal experience with it.
Yeah.
That's when it's your passion. That's when there's no burnout.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they always say, like, with working with kids or working in addiction, there's a high burnout rate. People always telling me, you got to do self-care. You're going to burn out. I tell them, I can't burn out.
Yeah.
Can't.
I can't. I'm all there is to this. So this is my purpose.
Yeah.
Me and Chi talk about this all. Shout out to our cousin Chi, right?
Chi.
Because she does social work, right? And we all say this. Me and Chi chop it up all the time. It's no coincidence we do what we do for a living.
Facts.
We work with the same people that we once was.
Yeah.
No doubt.
No, that's definitely true.
So that's how we give back. We help those. We be the staff. We be the counselor. We be the probation officer, parole officer, social worker that we wish we had.
Exactly,
when
man.
we were there.
Exactly.
And that's when you're on purpose. And when I say on purpose, I always say this, it's not being intentional. It's knowing your purpose, walking in your purpose.
Yep.
It's being where you're supposed to be. Because it's no coincidence that what happened to you happened, what happened to you, what happened to me, no matter whether it was your marriage, your childhood, whatever. There's no coincidence.
Yeah.
That's part of the grand design because there's a purpose, there's a mission, there's an assignment that we must be on as a result. That's why we made it through it.
100%.
Because we can all give a whole list of people that's been through some of the things we've went through. Either they're not here physically or they're not here mentally as a result of that. But we made it through, for the most part, unscathed.
No doubt. Thank God, man.
That trial, that was preparation.
Yeah.
That was training day for the real assignment.
Yeah.
For real. For real. Because you can't go through something and then expect not to pass on that information. I tell people all the time, bro, all I do all day is give game.
Facts.
That's all I do.
I just want to drop a little gem.
My job is not hard,
No,
man.
it's not. Yeah.
And like you said, Gordon, all I'm doing is giving these young men and women things that I wish I had. I said it a couple podcasts ago, man. I wish I had someone that was being positive in my neighborhood in Rockview Circle.
Yeah.
That was giving me game that I didn't have to go to another country to get.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't get game until I left Connecticut, man. I was taught how to be a criminal, how to get away with stuff, how to lie, cheat, steal. All that shit was perfected before I got on the plane. But how to be positive, how to be confident, all that stuff came when I left the place that I should have been getting it from. And unfortunately for a lot of the kids that we come in contact, they'll never get that opportunity. No. So I have to be that person for them right now. And that's just it, man. I mean, like we use our life experiences. That's why it's so important to get that healing process started right now.
Yeah.
See, you said it. At the end of the day, man, you can't be talking about you're going to get it together next year. Yeah. Because the kid, the woman, the man, your son, your daughter, somebody needs you right now.
Exactly. So if you put this on your New Year's resolution list, right? Oh, I'm going to get it right January 2nd. What do you tell old dude that needs to talk to you December 16th?
Straight up, man. Right.
What do you tell him?
Right.
I mean, he's like begging for help.
Yes, man.
What do you give him an appointment for
Yes.
after the New Year?
Yeah. See me January 2nd.
Yeah.
I got something for you then, dog.
But it's crazy. People do it all the time. I mean, I used to be one of them people, so I get it.
Yeah.
But when you realize that it needs to happen now, that's when the grips change. But we all been there, bro. Come on, how many times we done put New Year goals out? I'm gonna start it January 1st. Soon midnight hit. I'm gonna go.
Absolutely.
And I'll do it about March 3rd, and I'm like, well, let me get back to that bullshit I was doing because this ain't working.
Yeah.
So it happens.
You know how many times I was getting clean on January 1st?
That's what I'm saying. So
I believe that up until 5 minutes before New Year.
Yeah, I'm telling you. And that's why I say, man, that's why I'm saying, like, talking
Going
about
into
this.
details.
Yeah.
First thing in the morning.
They don't get it, though.
I believe it, bro.
It's just a process, though. Like,
It is a
like
process,
Gordon said,
man.
it's a process. You have to identify.
Yep.
You gotta be able to identify.
Sure.
And once you're able to identify, that's when the process begins.
And sometimes it's glaringly
Yeah.
obvious. Sometimes it's right up in your face. You can't avoid it.
Yeah,
You
but
can't even.
sometimes people don't want to, though.
Yeah.
Because they so familiar. Like you said, you just so familiar with the mess.
Yeah.
You cool with being in that mess.
Oh, I believe it.
I'm cool with keep doing what I do. Like my man, and it's crazy that Gordon said it because I can agree with. I could be on. I'm 100% with him on it.
Sure.
I know how I feel to just like find a way that I don't want to be around that person. After a certain point of time, like, I'm done. Let me find something.
Sure. I
gotta find something because I was cool with that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to get close to nobody again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I definitely agree where you're coming from, but I want people to understand that whoever listening to this, we're not saying that your way is wrong.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody has different steps. Gordon's story is his story. Wes, your story is your story.
Sure.
And C's story is his story.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
And you know, I understand, but I just want people to understand, like, healing to get to where you're trying to go. If you're really trying to move forward,
Yep.
don't go past the pain.
Yep.
Go through the pain. That's something that I will not forget, bro. Like 2023, that might be a new slogan.
Yeah.
You gotta be willing to go through it.
Yeah, push through it.
You know what I'm
man.
saying? Like when you go in war in the streets with these cats.
Yeah.
You ain't going around the other side. Yeah. You got to go through them. You feel what I'm saying? So you have to be willing to go through the pain. You feel what I'm saying? And once you go through, I think it's just a different process. But you got to be willing to take them Band-Aids off too, man. Like you said, we be plucking.
Yeah.
But we don't want it to heal. We so
Listen,
quick
man.
to take the Band-Aid off.
Listen, man, sometimes you gotta. Sometimes it's good to keep a wound covered.
Yeah.
But in order for you to really get through it, in order for that pain and that healing to really start, like they say, man, you got to let it air out, man. You got to expose it.
Yeah, 'cause sometimes you gotta rip off the scab and get all the infection from underneath it.
Yeah.
So you got
it.
to scrape it out there because.
Yeah.
And another thing with healing, I used to hear this say, in order to get some ass, you got to put your ass on the line, right? So in order to get through something, you got to be willing.
Oh, yeah.
You got to be willing to lose. You got to be willing
No facts.
to take one.
No facts.
So you got to.
That's facts.
It's got to. In order to get through, you got to be vulnerable. You got to be willing to take a loss.
Hey,
you got to be willing to eat some.
Yeah. Hey, he preaching. You're going to have to swallow some humble pills,
You're
bro.
going to have to. There's no way. You can't save your face and your ass at the same time.
Wow.
You cannot do that.
Impossible.
It's impossible to do that. So sometimes you just got to go out there and be like, hey, man, this is me.
Wow.
Hey.
I'm going to take this because I got to get through this. So take your shots.
And that's courage.
And I buckle a few times and I get up. All right.
Because they will create a narrative.
Yeah.
They
And
will
that's courage.
And then you got to tell yourself what I tell. I tell people all the time, what you think about me and what you think about me ain't none of my fucking business.
It's really not, bro. It's really not.
I definitely understand.
I like what you said, though, man. You got to be willing to take that hit, though.
Got to.
Gotta be, vulnerabilities. Yeah.
You know, the Bible says, and not to get spiritual, but you know, the Bible says that we will stumble at many things, yet we will not be defeated, man.
Absolutely.
So you could be, nobody ever promised you that you wouldn't fall on your face a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody told you that. Nobody promised you an easy life. Nobody promised you that when you start digging up things that you're gonna like everything that you find, man.
Because you won't.
But because you won't, it's just natural. It's just natural.
You won't.
But if you have the courage enough to face it, trust and believe that you're gonna have the grace and God's gonna grant you the ability to get through it, and you will win at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because you're destined by design, man.
Facts.
You can't win until you learn how to lose.
And that's real. And that's real.
You got to learn how to lose. You got to accept that.
Yeah. Remember the feeling.
You got to,
Yeah,
because that's
remember
where,
the
like
feeling.
we said the last time I was here, that's where the lessons are.
That's real, man.
That's where the lessons are, and the losses.
That's real,
The
man.
failures.
Yeah.
The stumbling.
Right.
And when you mentioned, because when you said you didn't want to get spiritual, Cease mentioned something about his spiritual walk, not going back into church, but he had to get that spiritual piece.
Yeah.
And I was looking at your tripods when you said that, right? We need that.
Yeah.
That tripod, you need. That creates that balance. You need that mind, body, spirit. We talk about healing, but healing has to come physical,
Yeah.
mental, and spiritual. Because
All
if
that.
you're not on all equal planes that way,
Sure.
that's like a two-legged bar stool.
That's what I'm
You'll
saying.
fall every time.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Had to.
That's
Had
a
to.
fact, bro.
Yeah, you
Got to. Healing is on all those planes. And if you're not willing to do it, you're not willing to heal.
No doubt.
You just want to talk. That's window dressing.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's that pillow talk you just trying to get her not to leave you about.
Facts.
Yeah, that's
Facts.
real, man.
Yeah.
The healing process is definitely necessary in order for growth. You cannot progress. You cannot move forward. You cannot become the best version of yourself until you have made up in your mind that you refuse to be the same. Change is inevitable, man.
It is.
The only thing that you have to lose is, like you said, I mean, you may lose face, but who cares, man?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, on the other side of that, man, it's so much happiness, bro. Like happiness that surpasses all kind of understanding when you get to a point to where you're just living free. Because until then, man, you will literally be in a mental prison. And
Most
you can
definitely.
be physically free, but if you don't address those things,
Why do you think most of the people in our old neighborhood, we always talk about Rockview, right?
always.
So, or even New Haven. We can go back to, like, I'm 53 years old. I can go back to New Haven right now, and those that are still alive, they may be on a different corner in a different area, but
Same
they're
old dudes.
exactly the same.
Never changed, bro. That's
They're like a
it's
time
sad,
warp.
dog.
They're still doing the exact same thing, right?
Yeah.
And they're still saying, and they still got the same complaint. Same complaint. The complaints haven't changed
Yeah.
because their life hasn't changed. That's the suffering part.
Sure.
They choose to stay there. Ain't no jobs here. Why the fuck you still living here?
And that's real. You ain't lying though.
Fuck you still living here for?
That's
Ain't
the
no jobs
funny
here.
part.
This is it. Oh, my landlord and shit. Why you still living
Why
there?
you still
Yeah.
here, bro? I'm confused. It makes no
This
sense.
is all I know. That's all you know by choice.
Sure. 100%, bro. 100%.
You didn't only know that, you had to learn that. So you can go anywhere else, but it's just that familiarity, man.
Yeah.
Creatures of habit.
Yeah.
I know so many cats, they mentally and physically live in a 4-block radius. Everything, their whole world exists within 4 blocks,
It's crazy.
right? And just their whole mentality. Everybody they know is right here. And it's just that, it's that old plantation mentality.
Facts.
Yeah. That's real.
That's just what it is.
No, most definitely.
It's just that's exactly that mentality where this is what I am. I don't need to know down the road and all that. It's bad here, but this is my bad. I know what this bad is.
Yeah.
There's no uncertainty about this bad.
No doubt.
And their identity is wrapped up in that.
Yeah.
Because if you remove that, they don't know who they are.
Yeah.
You remove the problem, they have no complaint.
No doubt.
They don't even have a conversation anymore.
More. Yeah.
They don't know what to talk about. After good morning, it's silence.
Yeah,
You hear
it's the truth.
crickets.
Yeah, there's no more to say. Yeah.
That's real, man.
And that's just the problem.
Yeah.
And the solution is so abundantly clear.
Yep.
And
Be
it's
willing to
all
be
about
uncomfortable.
change.
And that's
Change is
real.
constant, but change requires healing.
Yeah, no doubt.
Lasting change requires constant healing and renewing.
Yeah.
And that's where growth comes.
Comes with,
Oh,
yeah.
man. No doubt, bro.
Or you just remain stagnant and miserable.
Can't keep doing the same.
Nah.
Can't.
That's
Especially
why.
if you want it different.
Yeah, and see, that's why I don't want to. Don't put me back together the way I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I got fucked up because I was. I don't want that shit.
That's real, yeah.
That shit got me in prison. Why I want you to put me back like that?
Yeah. I know. I definitely
Yeah.
understand.
It
I want to be a new creature.
requires some remodeling, man.
Yeah.
I need to be
And then
new.
let me get my legs under the. Let me stumble in this newness.
Yes, bro.
I like
and
that.
figure my way out.
Yeah.
I'm not
doubt.
gonna get in this newness and this healing and all of a sudden be able to take off running. I got to get my bearings because I'm not used to this. This is a new environment.
Yeah, man.
It's like moving into a new house, right? like you've been here for a minute, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You and Nat can turn off every light in here, and you can find if the power goes out, you can find your way around it.
100%.
You go to a new place,
Fucked up.
Yeah.
kneecaps be busted in the morning, right?
You're going to need a little
But
help.
after some time,
Yeah.
after some time there, getting used to it and getting your learning the layout,
Sure.
you're able to map your way around that. And that's just life. As we, in that constant state of renewal,
Yeah.
we get in these new environments, we stumble a little bit. And it's okay to stumble.
Yeah.
You get your bearing, get your balance, and you keep it moving. But then you also, the same thing, because we were talking earlier about replacing something. Some people you got to remove.
Yeah.
But you don't just remove them, because if you don't, for everything is removed, you got to replace it with something.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact.
You can't leave a void, right? So you just got to replace it with something that complements you the same way that stuff were complemented your madness. See,
Gotcha.
before we stayed stuck a lot of times because we kept dudes around that thought the same way we did. So when we tell them, "Yo, I just walked away," it was like, "Yeah, that's the right thing." Yeah. They agreed. We had a whole bunch of co-defendants, right?
Yeah.
So now when we change, we put some positive, strong brothers around us.
Sure.
That's like-minded,
Right.
because there's power and strength in numbers.
No doubt.
So we replace it with that.
No doubt.
So we create our own new village, our own new team.
Yep.
And that's that building process.
For sure, bro. 100%.
Can't say it no better.
All facts, Gordon. You already know what time it is, man. Listen, I hate to cut it off, bro, because there's so much we can go into, man.
We already said, a year ago, there's going to be part 4,
It's got to
5.
be, bro.
It's going to be different
I
segments.
told you I'm a plane ride away. I done showed you. I have no problem. I have no problem with booking a flight.
Listen, cause you already know, man. I appreciate you dropping by, man, to the podcast again, bro. This is all love.
Thank you for
man.
having me. Thank you
know
for
what I'm
having me.
saying? The man Gordon Freshman, he got on the merch, man. If you haven't got your merch, man, it's
Absolutely.
Christmas time,
Respect.
man. This is
Listen, I'm down here all weekend. I am doing nothing but representing Destined by Design.
I appreciate it.
Until I
man.
leave, till I get back to CT. I left wearing this. I got clothes for the whole weekend.
Yeah,
Appreciate
no
that,
doubt,
brother.
man. That's
Appreciate
love,
that.
I even
bro.
got stuff to sleep in with Destined by Design.
Appreciate that, good brother.
Absolutely,
Appreciate
absolutely. So
that.
get your merch.
Hey, world, man, we appreciate y'all. Your boy West, man,
MC.
my brother C, man, my cousin Gordon Lyde,
Blessings,
man.
Always a
blessings.
pleasure.
Love y'all, man.
Take
Peace.
care. Later.
I'm out here breaking curses, digging and feeling myself while keeping my head above the clouds and trying to stay out of a cell. Yeah, always on my grind, putting good food in my mind. Here's one for the books, like it was destined by design. Yeah, Destined by Design podcast.